Greetings, guys. Thank you for listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast, where we talk all about them Pittsburgh Pirates and that. My name is Josh. Today is June 25th. Happy Skeens Day to all who celebrate. And find a way to shrug off last night's loss and move forward. There's some stuff to unpack here, guys.
I'm bummed out.
Yeah, we're bummed out. Last night, 9-3 loss to the Brewers. Good thing is only counts as one loss. Second good thing is it's baseball. You get to shrug it off, wash it off, do whatever you got to do. Go back at it the next day. Today's Wednesday. It's a new day. It's no longer that. It was kind of a mess all around the game last night. Only one error on the book, but felt like maybe a couple different things that went wrong here and there. The error itself was a Nick Gonzalez error that just felt like it was part of a bigger situation. And, physical errors are going to happen. It leads to a couple runs eventually. But pitching wasn't great in this one. A couple of them are, but, most importantly, we're talking Andrew Heaney. We talked on yesterday's show about Andrew Heaney needing a bounce back start after giving up 7 runs in his last start. And what does he do? He gives up 7 more runs, including 3 home runs in this game. 3 home runs, 2 of them by Joey Ortiz. He was like a Nick Gonzalez type player. I think they were teammates in college or something. But either way, he's hitting .217 now on the year, Joey Ortiz. Good shortstop. I like the player in general, but either way. I mentioned home runs are pitched a lot of times. And 2 of these, now Ortiz did go down and get a changeup that wasn't necessarily a terrible pitch. Kind of golfed it out. But the 2, the Ortiz, the first Ortiz homer, and then the Caleb Durbin home run, they're just 90 mile an hour down the middle. One of them even more belt high. The other one top of the zone, but it's still a strike, and it's still 90, and it was still the middle. And you catch that much plate with 90 miles an hour when you're not throwing a lot of strikes to begin with, like he wasn't throwing a lot of strikes tonight, then it's a field day and it's a ball that's going to get hit a long way if they don't miss it. And in this game, they just didn't miss it. And that's the way it went. And Andrew Heaney now has 2 straight starts of 7 runs, 7 earned runs against him. And you talk about 90 down the middle, and maybe you're somebody who says, why do we care so much about velocity? Why are we pushing for this so much? Why is pitch velocity, exit velocity when you're hitting, why do these things matter? Because they do. Because you look at results. If that's 95, you might get away with that. But at 90, it's a lot of times going to get hit like that. You have to be pinpoint control. You get both of those a little further in, or maybe even a little out of the zone. Maybe you get a pop up. Maybe you get something in on the hands and you don't get the barrel out to it. I mean, there's still a way to pitch at 90, but the problem is you have to almost be perfect. You don't have to be necessarily perfect. You can be deceptive. And if you change speeds, you can get away with some of that. And we've seen him do that this year. Early in the season, we've seen him do that. And I don't, you're not going to continue to get away with that at this level. And it's catching up to him right now. He still could bounce back. He's still been, when you look at the overall numbers, it would be easy to say, well, he's not very good. But we know how good he was early and how he helped this team get to a certain place early, even though the offense wasn't enough to win a lot of games when he was avoiding runs. But it's still, it's still one of that. He also walks 3 in this game. He gives up 7 hits. walks 3, 7 hits. The trade value on Andrew Heaney right now is plummeting. And, you know, we talked about the 10 straight starts of giving up at least one run. Not all of those are bad, but that's now stretched to 11. And before that stretch, he had a 1.72 ERA going into that game. It is now at a 4.48. Now that's a season number. He still pitched to a 1.72 for half of this thing. My eyes are drying out. If you're on the video, I'm sure you're seeing got a little bit of a this light in my eye is drying me out. Anyway, the trade value is plummeting, and for a guy like this, he's a rental player that we signed. The whole idea is let's have a veteran lefty in this rotation for a portion of the season, move him for some sort of return that's going to help this team. It's an investment that you make bringing in guys like this, and it's an investment. You could say the same thing about Tommy Pham and Adam Frazier, even though I'll never understand the value in Tommy Pham to build up and get something. Anyway, like I said, not going there. But like Andrew Heaney's a guy who you absolutely could have him for a little while, see some good pitching. If he could be at a 350, you can get a nice return that helps you address another problem. You've made one investment to acquire another. And then he goes to a contending team and stays in the back end of their rotation, and then eventually maybe throws out of the bullpen a little bit in the postseason like he's done before. Effective pitcher, something that somebody will want. They will want at the deadline. The problem is if you want that guy now, you're going to be willing to buy low. You're going to be like forcing yourself to buy low. And, every bit say, I have the numbers. I prove to prove that I can buy low there. And so that's going to be the issue with the Pirates are going to face next is they're not going to get the return unless there's a bounce back. Like if he has even just two really good starts, I think a team might bite and say, let's get him while he's hot and get through maybe an injury or something that could help them on their path to the postseason that the Pirates are not on. So I don't know. Still more to watch from Andrew Heaney, and hopefully he can get that thing get that thing turned around. Nick Gonzalez was essentially the offense here. He had a 3-run home run after having a 5-hit day yesterday. I didn't make the joke yesterday, so I'll make it today. When I said right before I was going to record, I said something to Katie, and I was like, Nick Gonzalez had 5 hits today. And she said he had 6 hits. And I was like, nope. She's like, the 6th one is his mustache. I hope I didn't butcher that. So anyway, Nick Gonzalez hit the 3-run homer. That was his only hit of the game, but still a hot bat lately. And, at least there's someone doing it. He struck out twice in this game too, but you also got to realize until that moment, until that inning, the 6th inning when it was Kutch, Reynolds, Gonzalez, those 3 guys right in a row was our entire offense. And other than that, Freddie Peralta was really good. He struck out 8. He did give up 7 hits, but most of them were not a big deal until that inning. He's a very good pitcher. And once he was given a 7 spot, you figured the game was over. They were able to chase him in that 6th inning by doing that. I was a little bit surprised, but he did have the pitch count up a little bit. With no walks, it felt like there was still a higher pitch count. Earlier in the game, the Pirates failed to score in a bases loaded, no out situation, something that you absolutely cannot do. And it started with Davis grounding out to third. The play went to home. There's the first out. It was only 1 out. So now your bases loaded, 1 out. You still have an opportunity. IKF strikes out, the absolute least of these. You cannot strike out in that scenario. Davis or IKF have to be able to lift the ball and get a run in. It doesn't have to be a double in the gap that scores all 3. That's awesome. You want that to happen. But in order to say okay, you put it on the next guy, just give me a sac fly. Just get a run in. You can't come up empty-handed. And then Cruz gets up, hits a line drive to left field. and it's caught on a sliding catch. I want to find this. I want to find this line out because I feel like it plays a part in what happens the rest of the game. It feels important to say. Isaac Collins is the left fielder in this one. He's going to make it. So it's not a hard hit. He's down 0-2. He's protecting. The pitch is over the plate, but it's 97, and he's just protecting the plate, right? He goes backside with it. It seemed like it wasn't hit hard enough to get all the way out there. I guess you don't get a lot of the probabilities on that. Anyway, it was a sliding catch, but it wasn't like an impossible catch. The ball hung a little bit. But it's one of those ones where you wish he would have hit it a little easier, or just a little lower. 20-degree launch angle. If that's a 13, it's a base hit that scores a run. Obviously, some frustration there in that inning. That was the second inning, very early in this game, and so you could have seen that a big deal. And the game was 0-0 then, and they end up scoring after that. So they didn't score their first 2 runs until the bottom of the third. That was a big moment there. And you had 3 straight guys just not able to get the job done. Specifically the first 2 guys, but Oneil Cruz is a focus here moving forward and specifically in this show as we pivot to that, because Cruz again 0 for 4 in this game. He had the strikeout, he had that line out, and then he let's find the inning here. I just want to make sure I get this all right. We need to make sure because it kind of happens fast. He had the ground out to short, but it wasn't until the 7th inning. In the 7th inning, 1 out, IKF had just singled on a ball that was like, it was a chopper. Pitcher jumps up, it hits off his glove and goes even higher. He's safe at first. And Cruz comes up and hits into a double play. That's the easy way to say it. It's again him going the other way on with 2 strikes. So you're not hating the approach, right? Again, not hitting it all that hard, but just trying to protect. It was a double play through and through, without question. But that's not the point. Cruz clearly frustrated, does not hustle down the line on the double play. He is fast enough that he could have forced something there. Maybe anything. The game's probably over at this point anyway. It's the 7th inning. It's already 7-3, but they had scored last. You just never know. You got Kutch coming up. I know there's 2 outs. But you can't defend something like this. And there's a backstory here because this is a ball that he just doesn't go down the line, right? First couple steps, maybe it's the similar as what it's always going to be. But there was a slowdown at one point and then a hesitation like, I slowed down too early, right? And I'm going to say that because we're going to have a lot of people talking about how he does this all the time. We're going to have a lot of people using the word loaf, using the whatever it is, lazy, doesn't care. We're going to have a lot of people saying that to you. And that's not the Oneil Cruz that's been on the field this year. It's just not. That's a lie. And it's false. We had the play in center field. I'm talking about running to first base. We had the play in center field that we talked about was a problem. You have to put forth an effort there. Even though you're never going to get to that ball before the right fielder, you have to go. Shut it down once you realize he's going to get there, but you have to go. Your first instinct should always be to turn and run. And then you got this one here, clearly out of frustration. This is not a, I don't care. This is a, I care a lot, but frustrated. It's the wrong reaction to being frustrated, right? When you're frustrated, you want to see run harder, push through it, That's the kind of stuff you want to see from a guy who you want to become a superstar. And it's not going to happen if this keeps happening. There's more to this story. Stick around. But I want to do a little bit of backstory here because Jake and I were having this conversation and we were after the play in center field. This is what we were talking about. And I said, man, that's just not like, what did he do after that? Right. He slammed into the wall, going hard after a ball. The play with Canario and all that was both of them getting there, running hard. That was good effort on that play. Later in the game, he had a ground ball that clearly was not going to beat out, and he almost did because he just busted down the line. That's what you want to see after a mistake. That's what you want to see out of frustration. And it was the opposite last night. So we watched video of Cruz. We watched every single ground out to second base of this season. I use second base as a good example because I felt like there's been a lot of plays that he's busted helmet falling off on his way to first on a ground ball to second base. And there was a handful of those plays where he had really little chance to make it to first. And he was helmet coming off, running down the first baseline. We watched a few of them on ground balls to first, and it was the same thing. There was a few where he kind of felt like there's a chance I might be able to get to first. And he's busting it down the line. And I'm just saying it like with the dreads. I'm just saying helmet's falling off. It most of the time is. But that's just a sign of like, hey, he's getting down the line quickly and with that effort in play that we didn't see last night. And so this has been a thing that he's been doing this year. He's been running hard. He's been sprinting. He has not shown this type of effort that much this season, specifically, exclusively running down the line to first. Here's what you have seen and what people will see and what they will say. If you hit a ball to the second baseman and he takes any steps to his left, you run. Now, this is a major league player, right? Not a high school player. We're not talking about your high school team or your pony league team where your coach just wants you to run everything out and you're 14, 15, 16, 17 years old and it doesn't matter and you play 25 games a year, right? That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about major leaguers who have to play 162 games when they're full-grown adults. If a second baseman goes to your left and you field the ball, you sprint until the second baseman fields the ball cleanly and comes up to throw. At that point, it is acceptable to turn it down a notch to about 75%. So if you don't see the helmet flying off on those ground balls, save it for the next one, man, because you don't have it all year. You don't have it. You will learn. Every young player will learn that you don't have it in the tank for 162 if you run them all out like that when you have no shot. I guarantee you. So those types of plays are not laziness. Those are, I got beat. I'm still going to go 75 in case he throws this thing in the dirt. I can still get there. But if the shortstop fields one like this, I feel totally different about it. I got to see that ball halfway through the infield and know that I'm going to be out. Because that ball, if it's even in the dirt from over there, I do have a shot of beating that out. And the chances of a shortstop throwing it in the dirt are much higher than a second baseman who moved to his left towards first base. So I want you to understand, like, I'm exclusively talking about second base when I'm seeing him kind of shut it down early. And that's what they'll all do, because you should do that to save yourself. It's absolutely not the same thing. But we watched every ground ball to second, and every one that there seemed to be an opportunity, he's busting it down the line. That's important to know, because this isn't a repeated thing that we're seeing from Oneil Cruz this year. We've seen the effort over and over and over again. And for him to shut it down here when he's borderline there anyway, but you had the play, was it Friday or Saturday? You had that play, and then you had this play. Very close together. You got to do something about that immediately. Because now you've had two really close to each other plays that, and we've seen it on defense. Like, I'm not trying to say we've seen that Oneil Cruz before on defense, right? Specifically at shortstop, we've seen it. We've seen it a couple times in the outfield as well. We've seen that guy on defense. Okay, so now let's go back to yesterday's game. It's the third out. When you make the third out, you take the helmet off, you give it to the coach, you walk out to your position. It's the whole thing. So if you're looking for timing and wonder why did he play defense after that and then get pulled out of the game? Well, because of the way that it happened, right? So he's already on his way out there. I saw a couple things I really liked here. Brian Reynolds takes his glove out or whatever. He goes out there and walks with him for a little bit. And you can imagine veteran leadership right there saying, listen, if anybody's going to talk to you right now, it's Brian Reynolds and the struggle that he's had and how he says, we just got to put forth the effort. The leadoff man of the next inning is Andrew McCutchen. Hits a ground ball to shortstop. It's a routine ground ball. Absolute busts it down the line. More than usual, right? More than what you would see usually. And when he knew he was out, he didn't shut it down. He went all the way through the bag. It was one of those situations where if you're frustrated, that's what I want to see. Push it all the way down the line. Just like I said, like run everything out. There's a time when you shut it down. When you're frustrated, don't shut it down. Just go through the line or go through the bag, And so you want to see things like that. But that's Andrew McCutchen also. He's not a talker that much. He's a doer, and he's showing Cruz on that play. He's showing him. Put forth the effort, man. It doesn't matter if you're already out. None of that matters, which, by the way, the double play with Cruz's speed, you just wonder if he could have gotten there. It wasn't a scorcher to the shortstop. He hit it 80-some miles an hour. It just wasn't a scorcher. You want to see him try to run that out. That's a problem. And Donnie Kelly, after the defense comes back in, first opportunity. That's what I'm saying. First opportunity. And Canario goes back out the defense. He obviously didn't get up because he was the last out and we didn't bat around. So, but the thing is this is accountability. You go to your player and you essentially say, if you're too frustrated to put forth the full effort, I've got somebody else who will. Take the rest of this one off. And maybe he gives him today off too. I don't know. It's very possible. He said after the game that he was removed from the game due to energy and effort. So it is clear that he was not injured on the play, that it was a clear, you're too frustrated right now. And when you're frustrated and you're not willing to put forth the effort, then someone else will put forth that effort and take advantage of an opportunity to play. That was Canario last night. But the idea is that you have to hold these guys accountable. You have to let Oneil Cruz know that as much as I want you to be good, that's not how to do it. You're not going to get better doing that. This has been a long stretch for Oneil Cruz. I mean, we talked about this on Sunday. We talked about the struggle that he's had, how bad it's been, from when it's been. If you missed that show, go back and listen to it. I'm sorry, Spotify listeners. It's not there. I don't know how to get it on Spotify. So for that one episode, if you could go over to YouTube and listen to it there, or if you have an iPhone and you have Apple Podcasts, even if you don't prefer that one, I think you can still go out and listen to it. But either way, find a way to listen to that show to hear, how bad this really has been for Cruz, because it's been bad. And there's for sure to be frustration here from him. You have to put forth the effort. You cannot shut it down when you're losing and you're frustrated. That is not okay. The one thing that doesn't slump is hustle. It just doesn't. It doesn't slump. That is effort. That is something that you're going to slump hitting. You're going to not see the ball well, or your timing's going to be off, or whatever it is. You're getting under the ball. You're going to, you know what I'm saying? There's disciplines. Pitchers are good. This level is good. It's the hardest thing to do in all of sports. You will slump at the plate. No one is exempt from that. But getting down the line when you're frustrated on double play and you're losing, is not, and by all means, this game felt over, but it was 7-3 at that time, like I said, and it was just an inning ago when you hit a 3-run homer. So this game is not over. You still had that inning plus 2 more opportunities to score, and this team scored 5 runs in an inning not long ago. So the game was not over. And you do that, you just can't. And I'll also say there's a respectful way to do this, right? Accountability, the point of accountability, I've talked about this on this show before. The point of accountability is to build people up, not put them down, right? It's not like let's send him to AAA because he didn't hustle on 1 play or on 2 plays. Let's even go back and include the defensive play in this scenario. You just don't send somebody to AAA for that. This guy has the opportunity and the tools and everything to be a superstar in this game. But what you cannot be a superstar doing stuff like this. You won't get there. You've got to be better than that. And so you take advantage of a situation like this. The accountability is, if you want to get next level, this kind of stuff can't happen. And you want to sit in that for a minute. And you want to realize, like, I have to show you, I have to call you out. I've got to present this to you to show you that this isn't it. And just telling you that and letting you continue to play is not going to fix it all the time. There has to be a moment where you do something different. And Don Kelly did that by removing him from this game. It's not embarrassing him. Most of those conversations should happen outside of anything that we'll ever hear, right? He's going to tell the beat reporters and everything exactly what he did. He was removed due to energy and effort. The rest of that should be handled without us knowing what was said, without us knowing. He's going to handle that. And we're going to sit here and say, well, that was the last we heard about it. It better be. You don't go embarrass a guy who has the chance to be a superstar. That's just the way I feel about it. You just don't do that, right? Just trust, and I know that's a very hard thing to do when we're talking about this team. But just trust that Don Kelly is going to handle that Brian Reynolds, that Andrew McCutchen, that they're going to handle that, and that Oneil Cruz himself is going to handle that behind the scenes. Because you may not think so, but I think most of us do. That guy cares about how good he is and about how good he's going to be. There's no way he doesn't. He's shown that time and time again. And I know that, like I said, some people will disagree with that, but you're watching a different game than I am. That's all. Like I said, we went back and we watched the video of these plays. The 2025 version of Oneil Cruz gets down the line. That's just the way, that's what we've been watching all season long. That's what we've been watching. So go out on Baseball Savant. Look at the ground outs to second base from Oneil Cruz. You'll see what I'm talking about. The times that you say, well, he wasn't sprinting on that one. Those were outs. They were already outs. They weren't going to be anything but outs. And you have an understanding of that when you get to that level, and that you know that the guy who's fielding that ball is one of the best in the world. Whatever. If you want to disagree with me, I have no problem with that. You can disagree, but that's what we've seen from Oneil Cruz this year. And this was not it. And this will never be it. When you got a guy that could be this special, this is how you treat it. I thought it was a good job by Don Kelly. I thought that there's a way that you can do that. You had 2 players show him in different moments. One maybe having a conversation, the other one showing, and McCutchen showing, getting down the line. But the whole thing is, as I look at the time and know how long I've gone here and need to shut it down, this is a big deal. This is a big topic right here. You got Skeens on the mound today. You've got a split series right now. You can win this series. It's not the end of the world. 9-3 is still 1 loss. That's all it is. Don't take the losses with you, right? That's the beauty of baseball. And Oneil Cruz has an opportunity to make this a learning moment. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't play today. I wouldn't be surprised if they say, take this one off. We've got a built-in day tomorrow. I believe Now I'm forgetting. I believe there's a built-in day off on Thursday this week, but I will pull it up. Mets are coming in town this weekend. Yeah, there's a day off Thursday. Mets are coming in town this weekend. So maybe give him a couple days off. And the last thing I'll say here, and this was being typed up before this incident happened. It's time to get him out of the leadoff spot for a while. This goes away from the attitude, away from the frustration and what resulted in poor effort on that play. This goes beyond that. Get him an opportunity to sit a little deeper into the lineup. I don't care what you do, whether it's Frazier or IKF at leadoff. I don't care. Keep McCutchen 2, keep Reynolds 3. I think you bump Nick Gonzalez to 5 to just to have a little bit of protection behind Oneil and make sure that he gets pitched to. But I would put him in the 4-hole right now, get him out of that leadoff spot, let the game get underway a little bit before he gets an opportunity to get there. Maybe he gets up early in the game with some runners on and has an opportunity to do something. I don't know if that's good or bad necessarily in this role, but what I know is we need to remove some pressure and give him some protection to get him going. Because instead of saying like, let's just get rid of him and send him to AAA or DFA him, that's really a stupid thing to do here. Instead, you need to figure out a way beyond this incident to get him going, because this guy has the potential to be an absolute superstar in this game. And so you need to understand that like it is your responsibility to try to give him every lane he can to make that happen. Your wins and loss columns depend on that. Truly, they do. Anyway, tense moment, man. Bad game altogether with that and just the runs and Heaney and maybe some Pirates struck out 11 times in this game. There's a lot of strikeouts happening. Even in the win, there was a lot of strikeouts. And the loss before that, a lot of strikeouts. And it's a lot. Anyway, we got to get out of here. We got to play music. We just hit 30 minutes. We need to get going. I appreciate you guys listening every day. It's Skeens Day. Deep breath. Let that one go. Matchup. Hype this matchup. Mizorowski and Skeens. This is a big one. Watch a little bit during work. Let's go Bucks.
Thanks for listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Subscribing to your platform of choice is the best way to be notified for new episodes. And now, new episodes every weekday. Remember, live shows with my dad and Uncle Jake are Sundays at 9 p.m. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and join them in the live chat every Sunday. Follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Bridge2 Buctober. Clear the deck, cannonball coming, and let's go Bucks.